Hi, Paul from Power Wash Store here. We're going to go over the Krishnapura skid from Mart. Little walkthrough. We'll talk about some of the equipment and then we'll go through how to operate it. We have on here a 7-gallon tank for the proportioner. We have a 7.5-gallon tank for downstream chemical usage. We have two 55-gallon tanks to allow them to store either two different types of chemical or two storages for bleach. Coming around the back side here, we have a 100-gallon tank with Hudson float valve on it that goes to one of the reels. We have our two water pickups for our proportioner. We have two bypass lines coming back from the pressure washers. You see there's an extra one here. This will connect to the extra pressure washer that he's going to be adding on here and putting on the platform. The other one is already plumbed into the pressure washer. You can see you have an extra high ladder rack on here. We have the ends for the ladder rack upside down right now for shipping. You just have to undo the screw, flip it over so that they point up, and that'll keep your ladders from sliding off the ends. Coming around the unit here, we have a drop tube and some extra hoses that you can use for chemical transfer with the 12-volt system that's on here. So if you want to drop this into a bucket of chemical, you'll connect the one side of the line to we have an extra long one here. You'd connect the one side of the line to the drop tube here and the other side to the 12-volt system. And then coming out of the 12-volt system, you'd run this one to fill up your tanks for transferring bleach onto the 6 truck itself or onto the skid itself. We have our hose reel small platform here that gives you a place to put the extra pressure washer that you have. Coming off of there, you see we already have a hose connected for you to connect to your pressure washer, and you can trim this to length. And then we have the bypass line as well, which you can trim the length so you can recirculate back to your tank. Down on the bottom of the tank here, we have a 3-way valve that you wanted set up. This will allow you to switch between drawing from the tank or actually force feeding the one machine. We have a connector on there that you can just connect to your hose length that you want to use for your garden hose. You can plug that right in, and whenever you want to switch to direct feed, all you have to do is turn this valve this way. You can also use this for winterizing it by taking a line and dropping it into a bucket of antifreeze. So drawing from the tank, we'll point the little arrow towards the tank. Drawing from direct feed, we'll turn it the other way. We have our 5.5 gallon a minute, I believe it is, a 5.5 gallon a minute Udor pump water dragon pressure washer here. We took the exhaust and we ran it along the side to point it out towards the back. We have our two different hose reels, 12-inch. We have a wand holder here, so you'll take your pressure wand and you'll be able to set it in there. Reaching to the engine itself for starting is really easy. You'll be able to reach right through here to work both the choke, the throttle, and the start-stop right here. Gasoline fill right off the back, very easy. We have a 12-inch Titan reel with stainless steel plumbing here with the swivel and ball valve and 200 feet of high-pressure dragon tail hose with the hose guides. On the top here, we have the hose for the low-pressure applicator system that will work with the proportioner. On the side of the reel here, you see this is where your downstream injector is that connects to that first 7-gallon a minute tank we talked about. If you want to remove this, it is set on here with quick connects. All you'd have to do is release the pressure off the system by squeezing the trigger. Just disconnect it off of there and then reconnect your hose like that. So if you ever want to get full flow out of the machine and remove a restriction, you can actually disconnect that chemical injector. So I'm just going to reconnect that there. You see it just works with the quick connects. You just pull the collar back, put it together, and release the collar forward. Same thing here. Pull the collar up, slide in the plug, and then push the collar back down. On the top low pressure reel here, you see we have a little ball valve that has an arrow on it. So that will tell you which way that the chemical coming in or the mix coming into the reel is going. Right now it's pointing towards the reel. If you want to bleed the system or when you prime the system to do it fast without having to run everything all through the hose, or if for some reason you run out of one of the chemical and it starts sucking air, you will need to prime it. In order to prime it, what you want to do is take one of these hoses here that we have, and I want to connect one of these right onto, it's a little cold so the hose is a little stiff, but we're going to connect this right onto the barb here, onto the plug. and lock that down. And the reason we want to do that is because when we open up this valve, if we were looking right at it, it would squirt right in our face. It will be under pressure from both either the accumulator or what's in the pump. We'll turn the valve out so that the arrow is pointing towards the line. We can stick this down into a bucket or onto the ground, and that will allow us to prime the system. So I'm going to go through the priming process. I'll just leave that on there right now. Top, we have our garden hose on here, 100 feet of garden hose on the 12-inch Titan reel, again with stainless plumbing. And then we have our second hose reel with 100 feet of the dragon tail hose and a ball valve with a swivel on there as well for the extra machine that you will be adding. Down on the bottom here, we have two different valves on here. We have the first valve, which is for, and we'll have this labeled, it will be the water and the bleach. And then the second valve is for, so you have water and tank 2, or the 2 tanks, and then you have bleach 1 and bleach 2. So you can select, this valve will select which of the 2 tanks you'll be using, tank 1 or tank 2 for the back. And then this valve will allow you to select between what's coming through this valve, or if you turn it to the left, it will be water. And we'll have stickers on there for you. Coming down to the proportioner here, and I'll go through the operation of this in just a second. Show you how to prime. On the side of the pump here, you can see there's some switches and a small reset breaker right in the center. Each one of these switches will turn on either the left or the right pump. And there's a little reset breaker there if for some reason you ever trip a breaker. This battery that goes in here will actually both power the pressure washer and your 12-volt system. So when you're running your pressure washer, it will be recharging, and you won't have to worry about having to charge your battery all the time. We have another wand holder here. And again, we have another small extra jumper hose here for your spare machine already on here, ready to go with the quick connect on there. On the front of the 12-volt pump, you'll see we have the Gen 3 system. You see we have 2 different couplers, one on the left side, one on the right side. The coupler will always be your inlet, so the female is your inlet, and then the product would come out of this side when you turn the pump on. There's a switch here on the other side and a switch over here on the other side. So right now this is hooked up to the proportioner. So we have our proportioner coming in, and then we have it going out to our reel. I'll go through the priming process right now on the proportioner. So over at the proportioner here, we'll start with this. You'll see that on the decal here we have some recommended ratios that will tell you approximately what you want to do for your mixes. Now these are just estimates. They're going to change based on what your circumstances dictate, because you might not always use 2.5% on a membrane roof. You might actually go up to 3.5% because it's really bad or really heavy. So each surface might vary a little bit, but these are some recommended ratios. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to prime your system when you get it. So in order to prime your system, basically what you have to do is get all the air out of the lines prior to running it so that everything functions and draws properly. So what we're going to do that is we're going to go back up here. We're going to turn this valve so it's coming out our little dump valve here, and we would put that into a bucket. We're going to, I'll just start with my water line. I'm going to turn, the water line is direct fed. This is your chemical line, and this is the line for your SH or your water. So I would have my hoses connected on here already. My battery's installed. I would turn the pump on. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn and open my water all the way up. I'm going to let the pump run, and it'll pump water through. When I start seeing, you'll see it pull the water through and the air come through the line. Once it's primed, it'll be pulling just water. You'll see the air and everything kind of come out here. Then I know that one's done. Then I'll close that valve. I'll do the exact same thing with the detergent. I'll open it up. You'll see the detergent pull in. And this is assuming your tanks are full when you first start it. You may want to put a little bit of water in them first just to prime it, and then fill them up with your detergents and chemicals so you're not wasting any product. But you can do it with the products in there. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to let the air come through. We're going to see that it's full. We're going to let it run for a second and watch for the air to come through. Shut that off. Then we're going to do the SH valve. Now the SH valve is going to be done in basically 3 steps. You're going to open up the SH valve all the way. I'll start with it pointing towards water, and I'll prime all the water. Same thing, I'll watch for the air, let it come through. Once the air's through, I'm good. Then I have to prime my 2 SH tanks. So I'm going to turn it to the SH, and I'm going to start with the tank 1. And I will prime this, I'll watch for my air. Once I see all the air coming out of the line, and it looks like pure water like it is right now from us priming it earlier, I know that that's done. Then I'll switch the valve over again to tank 2, do the same process, let it run till I see the air coming out of the line. At this point, your system's primed. You can shut it off. I'm going to close all the valves. The pressure's off the line. I'm ready to start spraying. So I'm going to turn this off back to make it come out of the reel. And then I can pull my hose out, put my wand and my nozzles on the end here, and begin to spray. So setting your ratios, it's not a complicated process. What we want to do is we want to determine what it is we're going to clean. So my system's primed, and as long as I don't run out of any fluids, I should really basically never have to prime it again because it's got check valves in it to prevent any backflow. I'm going to turn my, I have my valve pointing to the SH and SH so that this is coming through with SH into my SH line. And my detergent and my water will just be detergent and water no matter what. So I'm going to start, I'm going to open my water valve all the way. I'm going to set my detergent anywhere between 3 and 5 typically is where it's going to be. You can adjust that to your particular taste as far as how much foam or how much cling you want or how much it's drawing. But a typical ratio will be between 3 and 5. And then I want to determine what ratio I want to do based on what I'm cleaning. So if let's say I'm cleaning some really heavy growth tile roof, and I might want to be all the way up at 4.5%. If you look at the dial here, you'll see the little numbers, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, all the way up to 5 and 6, which would be right here. So 4.5 is actually a 4.5% mix. So I'm going to set the dial at approximately 4.5. I'm on bleach, and I'm drawing from tank 2, my tank 2 of bleach. At this point, I'm ready to go. I'll turn it on. I'll start spraying and wait for everything to come through. Once I'm spraying, you can see there's a little water in here from when we were testing it. Once I'm spraying and the detergent and everything starts coming out, I can start applying to my surface. Now let's say I'm done spraying on the roof and I want to switch back to a lighter mix for washing the house. Well, I'm going to come back to the proportioner, and as easy as this, I'm going to let off the trigger. I'm going to turn my SH down. So I want to clean, let's say a pool screen now at 2.5%. I'm going to turn this down to 2.5% or 2%, let's say. So I'm reducing the amount of SH being drawn. And then I'm going to put in the line what's called a marker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my detergent valve up all the way. I'm going to take my trigger here and I'm going to squeeze it and I'm going to count to 3. 1001, 1002, 1003. And this is while the pump is running so that it actually is pumping fluid. After I count to 3, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to turn my detergent back down where I want it. Let's say I want it at 3. And then I'm going to spray. I'm not going to waste the chemical. I might still spray it on the roof or the ground or something. What's going to happen is you're going to see a big rush of soap, a big glob of soap we call it. And we call that the marker. You're going to see a lot of suds and everything, and that's from sucking in all that additional soap in the line. Everything after that point, you'll see all of a sudden it'll start to reduce itself down. Everything after that point, you know, is your new mix, and then you can go and apply it with that. At the end of the day, when I'm done applying everything and I want to rinse, I want to make sure I rinse my system out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut my detergent valve off. I'm going to open the SH valve all the way, and I'm going to take my valve here and switch it over to water, which it'll say water right here. And when I'm ready to go, then I will just start spraying, and you'll see the suds come out, and all of a sudden it'll start spraying clear. You should have a little bit of suds and the residual that's in the line. Probably takes about 30 seconds or so, 30 to 40 seconds to get that out of the line. Once it's out of the line, everything from that point is clear water, and you'll just continue to spray your clear water. That flushes it out and everything's ready to go. Then at the end of the day, all you got to do is turn your SH valve off, turn your water valve off, shut your pump off, and then you're ready to go. So that is how you operate the proportioner. We will have, again, stickers on here, tank 1, tank 2, SH, and water, and you'll see those when you receive the skid. You have your gasoline tank. So this is the Mart custom built skid for the trailer from Power Wash Store, 855-351-9274. Visit us at powerwashstore.com. Thank you.